now. One of the few black Republicans running for Congress and running for Florida's Central District of Florida District 22. Mr. West, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks so much, Lars, and greetings to you and your listening audience.
Greetings to you as well. And listen, good luck in your race ahead of time. Tell people where your website is, so if they hear something interesting and they want to go check it out more, they can go right now.
Absolutely. You can go to GoWest2010.com. That's www.GoWest2010.com.
Tell me this, before we get into Elena Kagan or anything else,
yeah.
You had a message to some of your fellow Republicans in Florida who didn't immediately get behind that Arizona law that so many of us are thrilled to see working so well already in Arizona, SB 1070, to tell police, check out the person when there appears to be reasonable suspicion that you're not in the country legally.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the things that we as a party have to stand for the rule of law and the enforcement of the rule of law. I think that it's very important that the Republican Party draw the contrast between who we are. Hopefully we will go back to our conservative roots, principles and values that sets up who we are against this liberal progressive legislative agenda. And anytime you don't stand up for the Constitution, which in Article 1, Section 8 talks about the responsibility of the federal government to repel invasions, and then also again in Article 4, Section 4 talks about supporting the states and protecting them against said invasions again. Something is wrong, and so I think that we need to rally around Governor Brewer, a Republican governor, and support her in this endeavor in light of the fact that the federal government is not doing anything to support her state and many of the other border states.
I've made no secret of the fact that I'm a fan of Marco Rubio, and from a distance I've read the things you've said. I like your candidacy, but why do you think Rubio has taken this anti-1070 position?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask him, but I do know that he has come back and reversed that position about a week later, and I'm glad to see that he did that.
It just seems very disappointing. Let's get on to Kagan, though, because I made a small point of this. My dad was a vet, so was my mom. You're a vet, and I'd like to know what you think of the fact that we now are going to have a United States Supreme Court, apparently, that has not a single veteran of military service on it.
Well, I think that's an absolute critical thing that we need to look at. Here you have a combat veteran from World War II, U.S. Navy, John Paul Stevens, who is retiring. You would have thought that the president would have seen the importance of having someone that has prior military experience and served maybe even in combat as a veteran to be on the Supreme Court, but he did not look at it that way. Instead, he has selected someone who stood to ban ROTC off of the Harvard campus. And even when she signed on with some other professors for an amicus brief to go before the Supreme Court to challenge the amendment that the Department of Defense can stand for, it was voted down 8-0. So it makes me wonder, does she still believe that ROTC programs do not have a right to be on our college campuses, our land-grant institutions? But even more so, with this 21st century battlefield that we have, what is her position on illegal enemy combatants getting constitutional rights? So, my question is Elena Kagan, deep within herself, an anti-military type of justice that's been would be a anti-military type of justice, and it's really a slap in the face of the military that we could have had the opportunity to replace Justice Stevens with someone with the military experience, and instead we got someone 180 degrees out.
I'm glad you said that out loud, because an awful lot of us are wondering whether she's just plain anti-military, because there's one distinction I don't see a lot of people drawing, not even our friends at Fox News so much, and that is it wasn't the military that adopted Don't Ask, Don't Tell. It was President Bill Clinton and, at his request, the Congress that passed this. I didn't see Elena Kagan say members of Congress who voted for Don't Ask, Don't Tell are not welcome on our campus, or I didn't see her say President Bill Clinton, a lawyer, is not welcome on our campus because he promulgated that policy. They were all welcome, but the folks who were just ordered to carry out the policy, the military, they were blamed for a policy they didn't invent.
You're absolutely right. And the other thing you have to really consider is it because of her own personal lifestyle choice does she have some animus toward the military? And that's something that we can't have on the Supreme Court, where people are going to be using their own personal likes and dislikes for rulings when it's supposed to be a strict interpretation of our Constitution.
I'm talking to former Lieutenant Colonel from the United States Army, Alan West, who's running for Congress in Florida. What are you finding are the issues that seem to resonate best with Floridians?
Well, the big issue, of course, is our economy and jobs. Down here in Florida, we have a 12.3% unemployment rate, which is astronomical. Of course, we're higher than the national rate of 9.9%. Illegal immigration is a huge issue for us as well. But I think that, of course, now what you see happening in the Gulf of Mexico, this whole thing about oil drilling, and we can't shut the door on it. What we need to do is, research and investigate and understand what happened to that oil rig and make sure that we apply those lessons to all the existing oil rigs. And maybe we need to up the ante on our standards, our safety standards, and understand why the fail-safe systems did not give us a proper warning if it was indeed a methane gas bubble that got up into that pipeline. But we have to press on with making our country energy independent, and we have to develop the full spectrum of resources. And, of course, with the oil and natural gas we have off of the east coast of Florida, which China is looking into buying land leases from Cuba, I would hate to see us having to go to China in the future for energy resources like we do now with Saudi Arabia, Venezuela.
I mean, this may be a radioactive question, Colonel West, but tell me this, would you be in favor of drilling off the coast of Florida? Because from a distance, I've said I would have no problem with it.
Well, I think I have to be in favor of it because drilling off the coast of Florida is a national security issue because we cannot continue to send money to our enemies. It is an economic issue because of the revenue share that can come to this state. It's a job issue, and it's bringing another, technological advancement front to our state. But the critical thing we have to do right now is learn from this oil rig explosion and make sure we apply the lessons, like I said, to our existing oil rigs so that we can go forth in the future and do this energy exploration for the oil and natural gas that we have here before some other country comes in and does it. And the next thing you know, we're still being kidnapped and held hostage to countries that really don't have our best interests at heart.
Colonel, again, where's the site so people can help you out with your candidacy if they're hearing what they like from around the country?
Yes, sir. It is www.gowest2010.com, and we have a great campaign. We're probably one of the top campaigns in the country right now. We've had great success with our fundraising. We had a poll that came out in April that had us 2 percentage points ahead of the incumbent, Ron Klein, and we're just going to continue to get our message out and press for the restoration of this republic and bringing back the true conservative principles and values of limited government, lower taxes, individual responsibility, accountability, and upholding our free market solutions. I don't believe in bailouts.
It all sounds good to me. Colonel West, thanks for the time, and we appreciate you coming on, and good luck in your campaign.